I want to welcome everybody here tonight. If you would, stand for the pledge and then a moment of silence.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Clerk, roll call, please.
Eads,
Yes, here.
Peters,
Here.
Robinson. Here. Hayes,
Present.
Hitt,
Here.
Stahl,
Present.
Smith.
Here.
Okay, did everybody get a chance to take a look at the minutes? If so, any corrections or concerns? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Communications and announcements, we have none. Audience concerns, Anita Likens. If you would, state your address, name and address, please.
Thank you. Anita Likens, 157 East First Street, London, Ohio. As you've already discovered, you have the preamble of the Constitution and a copy of the Constitution and Declaration of Independence on your desk. We're celebrating the 17th through the 23rd of September is the National Constitution Week. It was, well, I tell you what, I'll just read the little thing in the paper that I had put in, and perhaps if you hadn't seen it. DAR celebrates Constitution Week. The London chapter of Daughters of the American Revolution, DAR, is celebrating the history and importance of the United States Constitution, September 17th through the 23rd. In 1955, DAR petitioned Congress to set aside the week annually to be dedicated for the observance of Constitution Week. Congress later adopted the resolution, and President Dwight D. Eisenhower signed it into public law in August 1956. I wasn't aware of that. Perhaps you weren't either. The Constitution is a testament to the tenacity of Americans throughout history to maintain their liberties, freedoms, and inalienable rights. The London DAR chapter encourages everyone to focus on citizens' responsibilities for protecting and defending the Constitution, and to encourage the study of the historic events which led to the framing of the Constitution. The Madison County Commissioners and London Mayor Closser, thank you, will be issuing proclamations for local recognition of Constitution Week. Information posters are on display in city buildings, local businesses, and at London Public Library. Additionally, as part of Bells Across America, local churches and the Madison County Historic Society will be ringing bells for 1 minute tomorrow at 4 o'clock, September 17th, to commemorate when the Constitution was originally signed at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on September 17th, 1787. If I may, I'd like to go ahead and read the proclamation that our mayor put together. Constitution Week 2022. Whereas September 17, 2022 marks the 253rd anniversary of the drafting of the Constitution of the United States of America by the Constitutional Convention, and whereas it is fitting and proper to accord official recognition to this magnificent document and its memorable anniversary, and to the patriotic celebrations which will commemorate the occasion. Whereas Public Law 915 guarantees the issuing of a proclamation each year by the President of the United States of America designating September 17th through 23rd as Constitution Week. Now, therefore, I, Patrick Closser, by virtue of the authority vested in me as Mayor of the City of London, Ohio, do hereby proclaim the week of September 17th through 23rd as Constitution Week, and ask our citizens to reaffirm the ideals of the framers of the Constitution had in 1787 by vigilantly protecting the freedoms guaranteed to us through the guardian of our liberties, remembering that lost rights may never be regained. In official recognition thereof, I hereby affix my signature on this first day of September 2022. With those, I would like to go ahead and continue my reading of what President Reagan wrote in September 17th, 1987, for the commemoration of the 200-year anniversary. If our Constitution has endured through perilous times as well as prosperous, it has not been simply as a plan of government, no matter how ingenious or inspired that might be. This document that we honor today has always been something more to us, filled us with a deeper feeling than one of simple admiration, a feeling, one might say, more of reverence. One scholar described our Constitution as a kind of covenant. It is a covenant we have made not only with ourselves, but with all of mankind. As John Quincy Adams promises, wherever the standard of freedom and independence has been or shall be unfurled, there will be America's heart, her benedictions, and her prayers. It is a human covenant, yes, and beyond that, a covenant with the Supreme Being to whom our founding fathers did constantly appeal for assistance. It is an oath of allegiance to that in man that is truly universal, that core of being that exists before and beyond distinctions of class, of race, or national origin. It is a dedication of faith to the humanity we all share, that part of each man and woman that most closely touches on the divine. And it was perhaps from that divine source that the men who came together in this hall 200 years ago drew the inspiration and strength to face the crisis of their great hopes and overcome their many divisions. After all, both Madison and Washington were to refer to the outcome of the Constitutional Convention as a miracle. And miracles, of course, have only one origin. No people, said George Washington in his inaugural address, can be bound to acknowledge and adore the invisible hand which conducts the affairs of men more than those of the United States. Every step by which they have advanced to the character of an independent nation seems to have been distinguished by some providential agency. No doubt he was thinking of the great and good fortune of this young land, the abundant and fertile continent given to us, far from the warring powers of Europe, the successful struggle against the greatest power of that day, England, the happy outcome of the Constitutional Convention, and the debate over ratification. Thank you for your attention.
On to committee reports. Greg?
So I attended the same two committees that most of us did, which was the Service Committee and then the Finance Committee last week. We'll discuss the Service Committee right now with the Rec Department. They gave us a report. Here's some highlights of that. The pool closed August 14th of this year. The pool revenues were $48,765, which was over the estimate of $42,000 for the year. The pool concessions for the year were $12,825. Total concessions for the year, $16,380, which is more than the estimate of $13,000. Now, that encompasses not just the pool, but the basketball and the indoor volleyball from before. But that was greater than what they had estimated that it would be. The pools have been drained. The chemical feeders and control boards have been taken down. They're going to be working on a concrete curb to help the splash pad not lose some of the water that it does. And they're looking to sandblast and paint the pools. It was starting to flake off. That's going to get in the filter systems. Patterson Pools, who winterized it last year, and there was an issue, but they did take care of it, to their credit. They'll be winterizing the splash pad again this year. Merrimack Park had their ribbon cutting ceremony that we previously heard about. The cameras are at the Merrimack are operational, go directly to the police department, and they would like to upgrade the trash cans there. And they do have 66, I believe, young ladies playing outdoor fall volleyball up at Calhoun Park. I was there last night, and they were practicing while I was there. They practice twice a week, and games are on Sunday afternoons. And that is the report from the Rec Department.
Brian?
So I'll give the street department, I attended the same meetings as majority of us up here. We'll go over Bill's report. They have replaced a few fire hydrants throughout the town, South Main, Stewart, and Richmond. They've been doing a lot of cleaning up. The Route 56 project is on hold again. They can't get supplies. Is that still on hold as of the meeting? Yep. And still don't have a date. So we'll keep everyone in tune in that. Our camera went down. We've done it. They did quite a few different things. They wanted to check, see if it was a software. They brought a guy in. He hooked up his software to it. It wasn't his software. It might be the cameras. So we have shipped our cameras away for that to be looked on. There's going to be there's one piece of legislation today that we went over. Also, we talked about his vehicles. I know some of us have seen the vehicle report. There's going to be legislation brought up about purchasing a plow truck. Right now, we have a 1999. These are the big trucks, a 2008 and a 2005. Okay, so we're looking into coming up with a plan of replacing vehicles so we don't get into a situation where we neglect it for so long and then we get put in a position where everything's down. We asked about estimated cost of to fix these issues throughout, which we do a lot of the repairs in-house, but he's saying the repairs are upwards of $20,000 a year. So that's another thing to start looking at with the vehicles and making sure that they're maintained correctly and we have working equipment. Other than that, it was just a lot of cleaning up around, mulching, cleaning up trees. That's about all I got. The next public service meeting will be October 5th.
I attended both public service and finance. We've got new business for finance that we'll go over. Next finance meeting will be Wednesday, October 12th at 6 p.m. October 10th is the holiday, so we pushed it to October 12th. Rich?
Okay, attended public safety meeting, September 13th. Meeting started at 5:05. August 9th meeting minutes were approved. Police Chief Nichols' report was read. Mr. Hitt will give more on that. Fire Chief Eads' report was read. Mr. Stahl will give more on that. We talked about the school resource officer program that is tentatively slated to start in January of 2023. This program will put a police officer inside London schools as a deterrent to any type of violent crime and to promote school safety by building a positive school climate in which everyone feels safe and students are supported to succeed. London School District will be paying 75% for the officer's entry-level salary and benefits package to the city. There will be legislation forthcoming at next council meeting for a new strength ordinance for the police department for one officer, bringing the department up to 21 full-time officers. Mr. Hitt will sponsor that legislation. We are losing 2 full-time firefighters. This will make 5 for the year so far. We will also be losing a lieutenant at the first of the year due to retirement. At last council meeting, we passed legislation to increase our starting pay range, which will help us in recruiting and keeping our firefighters. New fire engines should be here by late October or early November. The EMS vehicle that was damaged in an accident has been returned to service and is in good operating condition, no after effects from the accident. The accident was caused by a civilian, not by any of our people. Fire hydrants, we have an aggressive work schedule going on with fire hydrants. 7 hydrants have been repaired in the last couple of weeks, and more are on the schedule for repair or replacement. Big thank you to the Water Department, Street Department, and of course, the Fire Department for an aggressive work schedule on our fire hydrants. We approved for Chief Eads to apply for a Safer Act grant legislation. This will be forthcoming at the next council meeting. I will sponsor the legislation, and I will be asking for emergency passage, so when this grant comes through, Chief Eads can jump right on it instead of having to wait 1 or 2 weeks until we meet again. As with most grants, time is of the essence. We also discussed a revision of codes for storm sewer drainage and new developments. We'll discuss this more in detail at the next safety meeting. We also discussed mowing fines for repeat offenders. This is an aggravating problem that the city has to deal with year in and year out. It's usually the same people, repeat offenders from the year before or even years before. There currently are 38 names on the list, so we will be talking more about that also at the next safety meeting. There's one candidate for code enforcement officer at this time. We adjourned the meeting at 6 p.m. Next safety committee meeting will be October the 11th at 5 p.m. in the conference room. Thank you.
Andy?
I attended the safety committee meeting this past Tuesday, and I'll give the police chief's report that he submitted. As Rich said, we talked about the school resource officer position, which will come to council next meeting. We also, the chief said that Seth Duell was resigning from the police department. The police department participated in the London School Safety Committee quarterly meeting and the Madison County Fire Chiefs meeting. They were awarded a grant, retention bonus grant, and so that's good for 2 years. It's in the amount of $126,000, and it'll be based on the percentage of pay that each officer receives. They presented 2 seniors on the senior safe driving and scam awareness at the Madison County Senior Center, and also presented to the Homeowners Association meeting of the London Village Condo Association. They participated in the kickoff of the Driving Sober campaign with the Madison County Safe Communities Coalition, and he also noted that the police app was useful in locating a 6-year-old missing child. So he encouraged citizens to download that app for emergency notifications and other information. And that's it.
John?
Okay. I attended the Finance Committee, and I had the report for the Fire Chief for our Safety Committee. Department EMS training, pediatric trauma at Ohio Health. They did the training for human trafficking at Madison Health. EMS training, football injuries, Nationwide Children's. All SCBAs annually tested. Fire training, aerial and ground ladder operation and placement training. Provided EMS for high school football games. Participated in the Safety Expo. Participated in the Overdose Awareness Day. Performed fire safety extinguisher class for the staff of Madison Senior Living. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Anthony?
Yeah, so BPU, for the month of September, they did move their meeting September 22nd to the 29th at 6:30 in here.
All right. Now on to old business.
City official.
I'm just messing. City official reports.
Just clarify one thing. Rich said that we had one candidate for code enforcer. We actually had 25 apply, and we interviewed 4. Well, they interviewed 4, and then we have whittled it down to 1. So I don't know, it might have been confusing that we only had 1 apply by saying that. I just wanted to make that clear. So as Mrs. Likens talked about, this past Tuesday I was able to present a Constitution Week proclamation to the Daughters of the American Revolution. September 17th will mark the 235th anniversary of the drafting of the Constitution, so I do appreciate you guys coming out and receiving the proclamation, because we definitely do need to recognize this very important document. I had the honor of visiting the Coover House to speak with the 20th Century Club at their meeting luncheon. It was a wonderful afternoon, and I was able to attend the lunch, and it was about 3 hours long, so they definitely had me in a captive audience. So I was able to give an update on kind of where the City of London is, what's going on, and then was able to take questions from the ladies. So it was a very informative meeting, and they were able to find out a lot of stuff that we've been doing, and especially the good thing was I was able to answer their questions of things that they just didn't quite know about. Lack of newspaper for some people really makes it difficult for them to keep up with kind of what's going on around here and things like that. So I do appreciate them having me out and all they do for our community. On Tuesday, I was able to visit London Elementary School for Lemonade Day. So the PTO invited me out to serve lemonade to all the students in the elementary. It's about 900 kids that we were able to give some lemonade to. So if you don't know, this day was set up to pay respect and remember the legacy of Mrs. Carol Daniels. So Mrs. Daniels was a staple in our community and definitely in our schools. Her motto always was, "When life gives you lemons, make lemonade." So she always had a positive outlook on life and positively impacted many people in London. So she's truly missed, but her legacy lives on, and it's great that even kids today can learn about her and the way she presented herself and the impact that she had. So let's see. A reminder, London's homecoming is Friday, September 30th. So there will be the parade, the homecoming parade, that'll start at the fairgrounds and head to the high school, and that begins at 5:30 p.m. on September 30th, Friday. So please come out and support all the student athletes. If you guys have ever been down there for the parade, it's all the student athletes have their own float in the parade, and it's nice for the kids. They throw a bunch of candy, and it's just great to get out and support all the athletics out there and all the student athletes. Also, a big game coming up on the 23rd. Let's see, this week we have Graham, I believe. And then next week is that team from up north on State Route 42. So I've already made the call to Mayor Carney, and we will be having our friendly rivalry bet. So I do have a strong feeling that she will once again be wearing a London Red Raider t-shirt after our victory that night. And so now on to the MOLO Fun Fact, which is the number 22. So October 22nd will be Make a Difference Day. This is a day where we ask everyone to go out and perform the kind deed, even though hopefully people are still doing it every day. Mayor Darlington from Mount Sterling has always kind of been a spearhead in our community and our county when it comes to this day. So this year she approached the Madison County mayors to highlight this day, and we've decided to have another friendly competition between London, Plain City, West Jefferson, and Mount Sterling. We will be holding a canned food drive for canned food and non-perishables the first couple weeks in October to align with World Food Day, which is October 16th. So they have dubbed it the Be the Change Challenge. So all 4 areas will be holding their own food drive from October 1st to October 16th. Be able to accept, or you'll be able to drop off the goods or monetary donations to administrative offices. So here, West Jeff, Plain City, Mount Sterling, to their village halls or our city hall. For each item collected or each dollar collected will be worth a point. So at the end of the competition, whichever area was able to get the most points will be named the winner. So we know we're very competitive, so hopefully we'll be able to really knock that out and be able to have London be the winner. We're coming up with some flyers and some different things and getting it into the newspaper, so we'll have more information coming with that, but I just ask that you help spread the word. And it's a real nice time to start doing canned food drives, which will help. You know, ours will go to the places in London. Mount Sterling's will go to theirs, especially now that the holidays are starting to come into effect and, you know, kids will be home for a little bit here and there. We need to make sure that everybody's staying fed, so, and especially to recognize World Food Day. So that's all I have, so I appreciate you guys' time. Thank you.
Thanks. On to old business, we have three ordinances, 14622, 14722, and 15122. All three of these have been tabled. Is there any update on any of these by anybody? Okay. We're at the fourth reading for ordinance 17422. If clerk could
I make a motion to read 17422.
Second.
Clerk, if you could read the title and number, please.
Ordinance 17422, sponsored by Andy Hitt, an ordinance vacating an alley.
So this is alley between Star Trophy and Fine Designs, between 11 South Main and 15 South Main. All the utilities have signed off with no objection to vacating that alley. And there'll be a public hearing next council meeting, I believe, the 6th.
On to resolution 17622.
Motion to read.
Second.
Clerk, could you read the title and number, please?
Resolution 17622, sponsored by Greg Eads, a resolution increasing appropriations.
So, as mentioned earlier by Councilman Hitt, there was a grant that was applied for and received. It's called a retention bonus grant. I believe the total amount was about over $170,000 to be spread over 3 years. They're starting that now. So we need to put money from the grant into the funds to pay the police officers that were currently here when the grant was granted, I should say. There were a couple questions about it, but it seems like this is probably exactly what it was supposed to be, and that is to just help those police officers out for staying here. And we're going to take this to everyone tonight so that we can try to get this pushed through. She can get the money on the correct lines to pay their salaries moving forward.
I make a motion to suspend the three reading rule.
Second.
Clerk?
Eads,
Yes.
Peters,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
Hitt,
Yes.
Stahl,
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Clerk?
Peters,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
Hitt,
Yes.
Stahl,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Eads.
Yes.
Resolution has been adopted. Resolution 17722.
Read by title and number.
Can I get-
Second.
Clerk, if you could read title and number, please.
Resolution 17722, sponsored by Brian Robinson, a resolution increasing appropriations.
So in our meeting, we talked about the rise in fuel. So Bill was asking if we could move some money around so he can cover fuel for the rest of the year. We all know this year that fuel unexpectedly went up. So we wanted to move 20,000 from part-time salaries to gas and oil. There is an emergency clause on it. Does anyone have any questions? Make a motion to suspend the three reading rule.
Second.
Clerk?
Robinson,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
Hitt,
Yes.
Stahl,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Eads,
Yes.
Peters.
Yes.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Clerk?
Hayes,
Yes.
Hitt,
Yes.
Stahl,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Eads,
Yes.
Peters,
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
Resolution 7722 has been adopted. On to Resolution 17822.
Motion to read by title and number?
Second.
Clerk, if you could read title and number, please.
Resolution 17822, sponsored by Josh Peters, a resolution authorizing the Safety Service Director to enter into a contract.
Okay, earlier during committee reports, Brian brought up the topic of street department needing a new plow truck. So this plow truck would be, come with a plow and a salt spreader. And we are going to send this to Safety Service Director and go into contract not to exceed $200,000. And this is an emergency cause. We'd love to get this on order. A lot of things right now, I mean, it's hard to tell when something like this we could get this. So the earlier we put it on order, the earlier we'll get it.
There's no questions. I'll make a motion to suspend the 3 reading rule.
Second.
Clerk?
Hitt,
Yes.
Stahl,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Eads,
Yes.
Peters,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Hayes.
Yes.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Clerk?
Stahl,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Eads,
Yes.
Peters,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
Hitt.
Yes.
Resolution 17822 has passed. On to Resolution 17922. Have a motion?
Motion to read by title and number?
Second.
Clerk, if you could read title and number, please.
Resolution 17922, sponsored by Josh Peters, a resolution increasing appropriations.
These appropriations are, is for the city is responsible for a 50% match for the sludge press project. If the superintendent could maybe talk about this a little bit further for us, that'd be great.
Yeah, this is a private
Hey, Rick.
application.
Rick. Yeah, they'll need to have a microphone. Yeah.
This project was started back in 2020 for to replace the city's belt filter press for sludge. So I just wanted council to be aware of what we're asking you to pay for. This is the digester at the wastewater treatment plant. That's the end product of the treatment process. The sludge from the digester goes to a belt filter press. Which is located in the sludge press building.
One second. Try that.
Can you go ahead and just advance it?
I do.
Okay, that's the sludge press building. The press is located in that building. The next picture should be the sludge press. This press is, I believe it's about 15 years old, and that's called a belt filter press. The sludge goes into it about 2 to 3% solids, and it's pressed to about 25% solids. Go ahead to the next one. This is the wet sludge coming into the press. Then it goes through a series of belts where the water drains out of it, and then there's 2 belts that are pressed together that squeezes out more water. And that's the end product coming out of the press. That's what we call sludge cake. That's about 25% solid. And then it goes up a conveyor out to a truck parked beside the building. So that sludge is taken to the farm science building, and farmers can come and take that for their fields. It's a good soil amendment. Okay, one of the drawbacks of a belt filter press is you really have to babysit it. You have to be there the whole time because the belts can go off track or they can rip, and then you have a real mess if you have to clean it up. A lot of people are going away from the belt filter presses, and what we're looking at is a screw press. And this is just where the operator sits basically 8 hours a day. So this is a screw press. This is the one that's in Urbana. Me and Chris went out and checked it out. They're very pleased with it. It's self-contained, so you don't have a lot of overspray from the sludge, and you don't have to babysit it. They basically just check it a couple times a shift, and it can run basically it runs itself. So in 2020, September 2020, the city applied for funding through the Ohio Public Works Commission. What the city applied for was a 0%, 30%, or 30-year loan for half of the project cost. The city has to provide a local match for that of the same amount, making a total project cost of $1,736,300. The city signed a contract in July of 2021. Construction was supposed to begin in September of 2021 with completion by August of this year. So we've had to ask for an extension on that, and which looks like we're going to get that. So at this point, we're asking City Council to, the plans are complete. They're to Ohio EPA for review. So we're hoping to go out for bid in mid-October, or as soon as we can, as soon as the funds are available. We would bid it out in November, and sometime after December of this year, we'd start construction. And construction could be up to 18 months. So we've told Ohio Public Works that we should be able to have it done by May of 2024. And we're asking the funds be authorized from the Sewer Capacity Fund and the Sanitary Sewer Fund, 660. So I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Well, maybe Rick,
So in the process, if our sludge press goes down, I was out there and Chris was telling me, if that goes down, what happens?
Usually, we'd have to rent a press. There's companies that rent them out. We'd have to bring it in on a trailer and just run that. There's a company in Dayton that does that I've worked with before. So we just have to do that until we can get it fixed.
Yeah. And so in the process, with the press, if that goes down and we are having issues, let's say we did have issues renting, something was to happen, we have a holding tank. If that holding tank gets too full, we're gonna start backing up into the city and we're gonna start having some major issue. Am I correct on that?
Yeah, that's right. We'd have to quit, we wouldn't be able to treat the wastewater, so.
Right.
Yeah, we'd be out of compliance.
Yeah, right. We'd be out of compliance. We would be, that would be a horrible, horrible time for the city.
Yeah. it would.
But, so with this, taking out the moisture, and taking this with the press, the way we do that, and then going to the farm science review, it's a very big benefit to the city of London. What happens is it goes to farm science review. Farmers a lot of times use it for fertilizer. And I think what we take over there, it's so well treated, almost anybody can use it, right?
Yeah, that's called a Class A sludge, which is
Yeah.
the highest quality of, they call it biosolids. And they really encourage it for farming, for agriculture.
Yeah,
And there's really no limitation on it. You just have to keep track of it.
yeah,
But there's no, any kind of bacteria
right.
is destroyed, and the volatile solids, which is basically the odor, is I mean, it's basically just the best quality sludge that you can get.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, which that's a big benefit to us, which a lot of those projects were being started when I first got on council. So what that allows us to do, we take that sludge, that goes to farm science review, farmers take it, we give it to them for free. But what that allows us to do is to take in more sludge, we're able to process it for, what are they called, Rick? I just lost it.
septic haulers.
Yeah, septic haulers, things like that, which is a big benefit to our wastewater treatment plant. That's a lot of additional revenue that's came in, that's helped out over the years. That's been very good for them, so. Now, you did say, Chris was telling me that nobody will have to sit there and watch this. You're supposed to be able to turn it on and walk away.
Right, that's how Urbana does it. Yeah, we won't have to babysit it.
Okay.
They'll just check it as they make their rounds through the plant.
Do you remember one of those rollers? Do you remember how much one of them weighs?
No, I don't know.
Yeah, Chris was showing me when I was over there. I just happened to miss Rick. Rick didn't know I was coming over, but those rollers, when one of those bearings go out, I mean, it's going to be down for a very long time. They are really heavy. It's not something, someone can go in there and lift up, by hand. There's a lot of weight, so just a lot of issues. So I'm just trying to give you guys as much information as I can. I know they have this on here. I know it's sponsored by Josh here, but eventually it'll get down to me in 180, so. Does anybody have any questions?
Well, I was not on council at the time, so this had been previously approved?
Part of it. So originally, Dan was looking into what was called a centrifuge press, because basically BPU's been knowing our press is on its way out. And so even when Dan was here, which that's 2 superintendents ago, right? Yeah, because
Right.
Jerry was before Rick. So, and a good thing here, Rick is not looking for the Cadillac, oh, wait a minute, I'm a Ford guy, the Lincoln of presses. The centrifuge would probably be that. And so, but one of the drawbacks of that was it uses a massive amount of electricity. And so this style of press, I think is a good in-between. It's gonna free up an employee to be able to go make repairs, do things like that, and hopefully have less issues, so.
Yeah, we usually run it 2 to 3 days a week, so We don't run it every single day, so
Yeah.
that would free up somebody those days.
Yeah.
Greg, to your comment, if I may, the loan was approved in 20, legislation 18120. That was 2020.
Okay. So what we're doing today, we don't have to approve that again because it's already been approved, it's on the books.
Correct.
We just have to appropriate.
Right, appropriate. yeah.
Appropriate it.
Yeah, we gotta actually give them the money, or well, give them the authority to have the money.
Okay? And at the finance meeting the other night when this came up, it was discussed that, and I know we have two parts, 17922 and 18022 that seem to go hand in hand, but it was discussed that this did not need to be, the rules did not be suspended, could go through a reading rule, although if they had the emergency clause at the end of that, at least then it could be used at that point.
Yeah. I think the idea is too, we're gonna try to do, just like I've done with the other projects, we had, we were able to save money by the trash trucks, the trash cans. The bidding for trash services, we weren't really able to save any money, but that's the ultimate goal here, to give as much time as possible, try to negotiate, do whatever we can to get the best deal possible.
Well, we have a pretty exact number here, so we've,
true.
somehow you've come up with this exact number of 1 million.
Well, I think that was given to us by an engineer, correct?
Yeah, the engineer, Environmental Engineering Service, they were already picked before I came on board.
Yeah.
That was the engineering estimate that they put together to apply for the loan.
Yeah.
So hopefully that's still a good estimate. That was for they wanted to keep their options open to be able to do a centrifuge, which are a little more expensive, so it could come in for less than that,
Yeah.
based on a screw press. But that just remains to be seen.
But that was also numbers from 2 years ago,
Yes,
so.
yeah.
Okay. And I do know, when at the finance, when this was discussed, that one of the reasons why there was no true emergency right now was that there was not a permit to install yet.
Right.
That you were going to have to go through that process anyway.
EPA has had it for a couple of months now. They should be getting it back to us very soon. But the permit to install goes to Ohio EPA.
Yeah.
It's basically, they just have to sign off before we can build it. But we do expect to get that in the next couple of weeks.
Which by the time you go to your bid process, you'll still end up having your permit to build before you even, even with us suspending tonight, before we, to really start things, so.
Right.
It would just be having it ready to go. Any other questions?
The timeline that was up there before, can you pull that up, please? Thank you. So the timeline with mid-October 22 to advertise, November 22 to open bids. I'm just bringing that up so that we realize, once again, that, the timeline gives us a little time for this, if we choose not to suspend the rules tonight. Thank you.
Does anyone else have any questions? Okay. I'll make a motion that we suspend the three reading rule for 17922.
Second.
Clerk?
Smith,
Yes.
Eads,
No?
Peters,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
Hitt,
Yes.
Stahl.
Yes. Move to adopt.
Second.
Clerk?
Eads,
Yes.
Peters,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
Hitt,
Yes.
Stahl,
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Resolution 17922 has passed. On to Resolution 18022.
Motion to read by title and number?
Second.
So this just goes right
Clerk.
along, oh, sorry. Or wait a minute, I apologize. Wait a minute.
Clerk, could you read
Oh, yes.
title and number, please?
Yeah, sorry.
Resolution 18022, sponsored by Anthony Smith, a resolution authorizing the Board of Public Utilities to advertise for bids and enter into contract for the purchase of a sludge press.
Okay, so this is just finishing up the paperwork, making everything, just setting them the way to be able to go ahead, get the bids, get everything in order. If there's no questions, I'll make a motion, we suspend the three reading rule for 18022.
Second.
Clerk?
Peters,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
Hitt,
Yes.
Stahl,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Eads,
No.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Clerk?
Robinson,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
Hitt,
Yes.
Stahl,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Eads,
Yes.
Peters.
Yes. Resolution 18022 is passed. I'm on to Resolution 18122.
I'm gonna make a motion to read by title number.
Second.
Clerk, title number, please.
Resolution 18122, sponsored by Andy Hitt, a resolution authorizing the Safety Service Director to accept a grant from the Ohio Department of Development.
So this is a grant for $461,000. It's a demolition grant that would involve demolition of the old school, the gym, the boiler building, and removal of sidewalks, plus hauling away of materials. Does that include replacement of sidewalks, do you know?
Yes.
And replacement of sidewalks. So I asked Amy to bring up some pictures. So that, I've walked through the building a couple weeks ago. I don't know if anyone else has, but it's in pretty bad shape. So I asked Amy to bring some pictures to just get a feel for what the condition of the building is in, so that council would be aware, and so any community members that might be here or be questioning whether it could be renovated or to get a feel for what the condition of the building is. So that's outside of the building. I know there were some bricks that fell off the outside of the building several months ago. That's been fenced off just because of the safety hazards. Also, when I went through the building, they said that there's water in the walls, so that keeps freezing and thawing, which, you know, creates more deterioration. Yeah, that's outside the building also. And in the gymnasium, the plaster is bubbled up in a lot of spots, which can create a hazard for if there's kids in there participating in activities that, you know, some of that could fall on their heads or someone could get injured. That's an old school where a lot of the ceiling material is falling down. That's just in the school also. I think the building was built in 1912, 1913, somewhere in there. And the gym was built
11.
1911?
The whole school was built in 11.
Okay, and the gym was built 60,
55.
65?
55.
Oh, 55. John knows. So that's the gymnasium. There is some material that is salvageable. I think there was 4 furnaces in the building that could be used in other locations. And I think the dividing net and the fans that are in the gymnasium are salvageable. So I believe the idea is to salvage as much as possible to reuse. So that's the condition of the buildings anyway. So anyway, this legislation is to allow for acceptance of the grant money to go towards demolition of the old school, the gymnasium, the boiler building, hauling away of materials, filling back in, and removal and replacement of sidewalks. So,
A few things. What are the odds that we can get these up on the city website? I think that would maybe ease people's minds when they see the deterioration and why this needs to happen. I'm in favor of this without a doubt. But I'd like to see that, if we could get it up there on the city website. And the second thing, or second thing for now, maybe the mayor can answer, or you can, Andy, the timeline for this. Because initially, we discussed this recently, there was still a thought of trying to have youth basketball in there. So we're still going to try to do that. And the timeline's going to be, because it has to be done by May 1, so the actual demolition of the building won't happen immediately, because you feel that it's safe enough to have the kids in there for basketball. Okay? And this is just another thought that I haven't shared or asked you about yet. I think there's probably a lot of people in the community that went to school here that, if given an opportunity, one last walkthrough, if it's possible, to go look in the building before it's torn down, I could see where that could be something the community would like to do, just for memories.
That's a question for Jennifer Hitt. I do not feel safe letting people walk through that building. At any point, any of that can fall. I know Michael asked to go through it at one point, and you had to sign a waiver, didn't you? Yeah. I can tell you that I personally would not, I'm not giving tours through that building. I go in that building as less as I have to. But that would be a question for Jennifer Hitt, because of liability.
Okay.
Are you gonna do anything if, like, folks want bricks or anything, or?
Yeah, we have talked about that, about just, there's been places that have done that and set bricks out. We'll do something, even if it's set a pile up or have some people out there and people can just drive up at certain times and we'll hand them a brick or whatever. We'll be able to figure that out more once we get the company that's going to demo it, and then they would have to play an integral part in that. But currently, I don't have an issue doing that, but I'm not going to say 100% yes until we talk to the demolition company.
So,
Will they save the awnings? It's on two sides.
That's another question for the demo company. We have talked about that, about saving the two awnings and maybe incorporating them into another building in the future. So, once again, yes, that's has been talked about, having them refurbished.
Oh, Michael.
Why are you rolling your eyes? When you walk up here, you could sit in the front row, because you're going to come up.
I like to leave that for people who are guests. I don't know what the guests anymore. Michael Norman, 188 South Oak Street, great city of London, Ohio. I just wanted you to clarify for me, because I know you've clarified it to me, and so did Rex when we walked through. When you say that you don't want to go into that building, you're just talking about the areas that are off limits to the public.
Yeah, correct, not the
The
gymnasium. I'm talking
gymnasium
about
is
the old
safe.
school, which anybody can come into the gymnasium during basketball games or whatever. I'm talking about the old school.
Right,
That has not been heated or cooled for
'cause the way
10 years.
Because the way you said it, I could see somebody hearing that and going, wait a
Yeah.
minute, he won't even go in there, but he wants to send our kids. So the
gymnasium I'll go
is
into
very
right now.
safe. Right,
Yeah.
it's very safe for the
Yep,
kids.
I'll go over and play you one-on-one right now if you want, Mike.
All right.
But the old school is where, because we've always heated the gymnasium. So that's why that's still able to be used and occupied. The old school was boarded up, oh heck, my guess would be 10 years ago. They built the walls and boarded it up, so it hasn't been heated or cooled in 10 years. So you could think what that does to ceilings and walls and wood. So yeah, the old school is where the scary part is.
Thank you.
How long has the city owned it?
How long has the city owned it? Oh, John, you were on council when they took that, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't remember what year they were.
It was a land swap where the London City Schools got a nice, beautiful piece of land to build the new middle school on, and we got that building, so.
That wasn't a very good trade.
We were the winners in that, if you're wondering. But I would say early 2000s would be my guess. I mean, I could find that date out if you really want to know, but yeah. Somewhere between 2000 and
Somewhere around there.
yeah.
So, I mean, there is a following legislation after this that is concerning putting out bids. So I'd like to go ahead and make a motion to suspend the 3 reading rule.
Second.
Clerk?
Smith,
Yes.
Eads,
Yes.
Peters,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
Hitt,
Yes.
Stahl.
Yes. Move to adopt.
Second.
Clerk?
Stahl,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Eads,
Yes.
Peters,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
Hitt.
Yes.
One more thing before you guys move on. Greg, I just thought about this. I really think people would like to remember that building the way it was when they went to school there, and not go in there and see what it has turned into. That would just be my thought, but.
Resolution 18122 is passed. On to Resolution 18222.
Make a motion to read by title and number.
Second.
Clerk, could you read title and number, please?
Resolution 18222, sponsored by Andrew Hitt, a resolution authorizing the Safety Service Director to advertise for bids and enter into contract for the demolition of 60 South Walnut Street.
So this is to put out bids to utilize that money to go towards demolition of the school, the gym, and the boiler room, and hauling materials, replacing sidewalks. I guess the concern, time frame is the concern as far as getting bids out and utilizing this money by the 1st of May. If there's no questions, I'd like to make a motion to suspend the 3 reading rule.
So moved. Second.
Clerk?
Hitt,
Yes.
Stahl,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Eads,
Yes.
Peters,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Hayes.
Yes.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Clerk?
Hayes,
Yes.
Hitt,
Yes.
Stahl,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Eads,
Yes.
Peters,
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
Resolution 18222 is passed. On to Resolution 18322.
Motion to read by title and number.
So moved.
Clerk, could you read title and number, please?
Resolution 18322, sponsored by Henry Comer, a resolution authorizing the Board of Public Utilities to apply for and accept a grant from the Ohio Environmental Protection Agency.
This is,
Okay.
or
Well,
you
I
need
was
it-
going to
okay.
ask if
Oh,
you knew anything
okay.
about it, if you could.
Well, this is just the part of that, we've already approved everything else. The last thing we would want to do is not approve this and not receive the grant. This is just going along with the sludge press, so if anyone doesn't have.
No,
any-
no.
Or no, I'm sorry, hold on.
No, this is, I can explain a little bit.
Yeah,
And
wait
you
a
can
minute.
chime in if
Yeah.
you want. So, Ohio EPA is coming out and saying that everyone has to do lead mapping for their
Oh,
water lines,
yeah.
if
My
I
bad,
believe.
I apologize.
And it has to be done by a certain date. Well, Burgess and Nyepel, who we've been working with for our sewer lines, our water lines, has found this grant. So this, once again, was hey, we found this at I believe it's $50,000, correct? Amy? $50,000 to go towards this lead mapping that you have to do. So we were like, oh, fantastic. And they were like, yeah, you need to sign it and turn it in tomorrow. So
And it's
Jenna-
non-matching too, right?
and Jennifer went through the whole thing. and didn't see an issue, so I went ahead and signed it and turned it in. We called Henry and kept him in the loop on this, and, but that's why we wanted to bring it to you. And that's why it bypassed committee, because, once again, you gotta love these grant processes, but they sent us one thing the day before Jennifer read it, it wasn't quite correct. The next day we got it figured out, that was the day that it had to be signed.
So my apologies there. I
No, that's fine.
mixed up there. But if anyone doesn't have any questions, I'll make a motion we suspend for
But-
free reading rule for 1.
Well, I do have a question. You said lead mapping? So what exactly are they mapping for? I mean, lead paint, lead pipes, lead,
It's the water lines.
just the water lines? Okay.
Yeah.
Second.
Clerk?
Hayes,
Yes.
Hitt,
Yes.
Stahl,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Eads,
Yes.
Peters,
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Clerk?
Robinson,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
Hitt,
Yes.
Stahl,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Eads,
Yes.
Peters.
Yes. Ordinance, or Resolution 18322 has passed. Now onto Ordinance 18422.
Motion to read by title and number.
Second.
Clerk, if you could read title and number.
Ordinance 18422, an ordinance approving the editing and inclusion of certain ordinances as parts of the various component codes of the codified ordinances, providing for the adoption and publication of new matter in the updated and revised codified ordinances, repealing ordinances in conflict therewith, and declaring an emergency.
Okay, Henry's sponsoring this. I believe this would be just like the changes we've made the past few years to put in, pretty much update the book and everything for what people can read, right?
The website,
The
too.
website.
right?
Website.
Yeah.
Yeah, so every year, I don't know, I didn't even hear you guys talk. Every year, usually, everybody takes a small section, reads through it, see if there's any errors. Was that given out to you guys?
That was given out to us
Last council meeting.
last council meeting, yeah.
So you guys
But
read it?
he actually didn't assign sections to people. He just gave us the
Yeah.
entire, he talked about it before the meeting, but then didn't actually say to each one of us to go through and do that. I have not been through it yet. Can any council member say they have been?
Been through bits and pieces of it. I haven't been through the whole thing yet, but maybe,
I scanned through it today.
maybe half of it.
Does it have to be done by a certain time? I don't know.
It's got an emergency clause, but I haven't heard that it has to be done by a certain time.
Yeah, she didn't.
But I
And
thought-
and this dates back to ordinances from 2019, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought this was just looking at, when I talked to Jennifer about it, this was just updating the website. This wasn't actually us going in and reading and correcting.
This is updating the ordinance book,
The ordinance
Right,
book.
updating.
in which updates the website,
Right.
which is, you guys probably all got a big,
And I think that was the same thing. I think that was just pretty much to put in the book in the right spots.
right,
Yeah,
so,
right
so-
spot,
wasn't
yeah.
the
This isn't the correct
proofreads.
proofreading one.
Right.
No.
what are you talking about?
When I talked to Jennifer, this wasn't the one for us to, take the little sections and proofread. This was we only had to look at what needed to be updated, which was not it's not the whole book.
It's not the whole book.
Right.
But it's everything that's in front of you.
Yeah.
That entire section.
That is all the new sections.
Yes, that's what we got. We got the new sections to put
Right,
into the
the
book.
new sections, yeah.
Yeah, that packet right there.
Right.
Correct. So you guys should have read through it and figured out if there was any errors.
My understanding is it's the company that does this for us, wants it to go through council to make sure everything they're entering is accurate.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So say, and I might be speaking out of turn, but if we publish these and there's an issue, we can't go back and say, you guys messed this up. It would be, whoever was supposed to proofread it messed it up.
So anyway, this probably needs to be left on.
Yeah. Yeah, ask Jen, I don't know, I'd have to ask Jennifer some questions.
Yeah, this is, I mean, we've done, this is ever since I was on council.
Yeah.
Usually you would,
Right.
usually if it's, you know, if it's 70 pages, everybody gets 10 pages.
Right.
And you kind of just go through it and, but I wasn't in the discussion of, I just know they were given to you guys. I
Yeah.
didn't.
He, like, as I said, Mayor, he mentioned that before the meeting started, then he didn't actually assign. Do you guys want to figure out just assign pages so we can get this done? How many pages are in the book? Do we know?
I don't know.
Because it won't be numbered properly.
In all my years, I can't remember anybody ever finding anything.
There's only 88.
There's 88 pages?
Don't jinx yourself, John.
I know.
88 pages.
There's several hundred, looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say there's several hundred in here.
I can look at it tomorrow and
Yeah,
send
she
out,
can-
make it
right.
even and send out that, how much each of you want, if you want to do that.
That'd be fine, that's a good plan.
That'll work, so we'll keep this one on till the next meeting. We'll go to Resolution 18522.
Motion to read by title and number.
Second.
Clerk, if you could read title and number, please.
Resolution 18522, sponsored by Josh Peters, Ohio Department of Transportation Municipal Bridge Program.
What this is we give ODOT permission to inspect the bridges. I think we do this every 2 to 3 years with them,
Yeah.
and they bring up, their engineers in to inspect our bridges.
And they pay 100% of that,
Right.
right? We don't
Yeah,
have
there's
any
nothing
match
out of
to
our
it. Yeah.
Pocket for
It's
this.
just, we have to enter into this agreement like you said, it used to be 3 years, I think. Now it's every 2 years. We have to just enter into the agreements that they'll do it for us, which is a good deal for us.
It's too bad they won't pay for anything they find.
Yeah.
But
I just wanted to pay
So
these.
if there's no discussion on it, I would go ahead and make a motion to bypass the three reading rule on it.
Second.
clerk,
Robinson,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
Hitt,
Yes.
Stahl.
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Keeds,
Yes.
Peters.
yes.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Clerk,
Peters,
yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
Hitt,
Yes.
Stahl.
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Keeds.
Yes.
Resolution 18522 has passed.
Mr.
Josh.
Peters?
Yes, Mayor.
I just texted Jennifer, and she said that it can go 3 readings, the ordinance book. She said just have it go 3 readings, but she just wanted to get it on so it could be passed. So there's no need to pass it like you guys said. I just wanted to clarify that.
And I thought previously, when we did this, because this right here is I think is the whole book.
No, it's,
No, it's that big.
so you need a,
This is like the largest one I've ever seen since I've been on council.
so, yeah, what you'll do, you'll replace pages
Right.
with that stuff. Right, it's norm,
Does anybody actually have a book?
I don't know, this says that this is the codified ordinances of London, Ohio.
Right, I know council members used to have books, so I don't know if anybody gets books anymore.
So I can talk to that. So yes, council members used to have books. You're absolutely correct. And when you guys would read these pages, you at that point would go through and replace pages and do different things. And we found out that council members weren't doing that for many, many, many years. I remember when I came on council, my council member handed me the book with about 4 of those things and said, I don't even know if that's all of them. And so I just gave it back and said, there's no point in having this if it's not up to date. So, but we do have full and complete ones. They're very expensive, but, we have one in our office. Jennifer has it. Like, we have full books that we will go through and change all those things out.
Are there any books available to the public that they can just get to, maybe at the library or anyplace else?
No, but they're all online. Yeah, and if, at any point, if somebody wants to come in, just like at the library, they're more welcome to come in and look at them or,
All of our
Use-
ordinances and the Ohio Revised Code are on our website.
yeah.
Or you bring your library card, maybe check it out for a week or two. On the round table, we'll start with Anthony.
I have not.
John?
The one ordinance is a little difficult. Things happen, you have to do it. But having graduated, we vote to tear it down, but I know everybody's looked at everything, and it has to happen. I'm the last member here, probably graduated from there, but time goes on, and I get older, the building got older too. I think it shows we're getting a lot of different things done, all the different things we've had to pass tonight, so I'm glad we're moving forward. Then I saw a thing in Dispatch today that we need to double the houses in central Ohio in the next few years because of all the people, things that's moving in, so I'm glad to see us moving on that situation also. That's all.
Andy?
Yeah, I guess in relation to the buildings and the nostalgia that people might feel there, when I went through, there was, I'm someone, I guess, that doesn't like to throw anything away, but there's a lot of things in there that seem like they're still useful. There's some lockers in the basement, and the wood flooring is oak, which could probably be used, and the awnings, I think, outside are copper. They're all green, but are brass or something. I don't know if that adds difficulty to the demolition idea, or I think there was some discussion that that's been offered before and people don't follow through with picking up stuff that they want, or. Yeah. So,
Bill almost dropped a whole row of lockers on me once as we were pulling them out. And,
there was some
but I
really,
had cat-like reflexes, and I was able to jump out of the way just in the nick of time. And then he had this look on his face, so I don't know what he was up to. But we have put some out, and then we just trash them because,
there were some really nice lockers downstairs that, still in really good shape.
there are some, there was, I don't even know, I'd have to go back and look. A lot, did you open them up?
I didn't, I just went in
Yeah,
there.
so you open them up, and a lot of them are rusted.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
The ones down the
a
basement.
lot of them are rusted out, or you can see where the paint's bubbling around the edges of where the rust is taking it over. But, if there's something salvageable that's worth something, or somebody will give us money, I mean, we'll definitely do that, but.
So I just thank everyone for coming out, showing an interest in what's going on with the city. That's it.
Rich?
I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. I want to thank all city employees for jobs well done. We appreciate the work you do. We appreciate the effort you put in. I want to thank my committee members. We had a very good meeting the other night. Very happy with what's going on. Glad we're going to have an officer in the high school. I think it's need to be done a long time ago, but I'm glad we're moving in that direction. Speaking about the high school, I just went back for my 59th, I believe it's 59, 59 years. My high school was boarded up, windows were smashed, and it was just obliterated. But they got money somewhere, and they went in and they've redone it. They've refurbished every room. They've got it's a senior center now. They've got a weight room in there that some professional football teams would be proud to have. But I got to walk back through it a couple weekends ago. I was back on the stage where the basketball games were played. I brought back a lot of good memories. I'm very happy they did what they did. our building wasn't in that bad a shape compared to this building. This building is, it's gone. It's just like an old ship. Old ship sits, it rusts out, starts falling apart, you gotta cut it up, you can't do anything with it. So this building has got to be decommissioned and taken down. God bless City of London, all of our people here, watch over us, keep us safe and keep us well. In Jesus' name. That's all I got.
I just want to thank Anita for the Constitution here in this little frame. I got the perfect spot for it there at work. I do appreciate you coming in here every council meeting and reading the Constitution, Reagan's speech. It's good to always hear it again, so thank you. Brian?
I don't have anything.
Greg?
I also want to thank Anita and the Daughters of the American Revolution London chapter, right? I've got a place that I'll display this. I think you know where it is. So I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming out.
All right, is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.